We had that Michigan uncommitted vote, and it was more successful.
About 100,000 voters.
And I believe Biden only lost Michigan by a pretty small margin. So that matters.
In 2020,
in 2020. Do you think that something like that pushes the administration on policy?
First of all, something like that is important, period. It is important, period, because I think there's nothing more American than protest. I know for a fact that at least a couple months and weeks ago, people were telling Joe Biden, the President of the United States of America, that this ceasefire thing is gonna blow over. That all you gotta do is, it's gonna blow over. Once you get the hostages back, it won't be an issue for the general election. I think that was wrong and bad advice to give. This moment to me is similar to 2015, 2016, when we had an earnest and very forward-facing conversation for the first time, I think, in a while about police brutality and that's when the rise of Black Lives Matter, really, and after the death of, it was the year that campaign really got underway, a year after the killing of Michael Brown. Yeah. And just like how the issue of what we were calling Black Lives Matter sustained itself as an issue and a topic of concern that was on the mind of voters throughout the election, on top of other things, right? Yeah. This issue of the plight, and to be very clear, the issue is what is happening to the Palestinian people in Gaza, the images people are seeing, and the death toll, and it is how this is not right. These are what is happening to these people, to these children, and why is the United States government doing this? And I think the administration and the campaign, they have to not be afraid to give a good answer. The vice president, she went out and she was on The View. Yeah. She was asked about Gaza and young people and the concern, period, across the board, because it's also not just young people. Yeah. It is not just young voters. It's not just Arab American voters. People need to take the concern seriously. And I thought she gave a good answer. I mean, I think it requires some follow-up. We could have a whole conversation just about that. She gave a good answer. The White House, they sent out the amplification. They literally amplified everything that lady said, except that.
We haven't seen Biden do a lot more outreach with Black voters. I think there's been, definitely more advertisements. We've all seen them. Do you think it's landing?
How you win the campaign strategist in me, the former strategist in me says, the way you win an election is you have to campaign. Mm-hmm. And part of campaigning is organizing. I don't think the infrastructure had been, fully formalized and molded out at the top of this year. And so what we are seeing is that infrastructure being built up. I saw the other day that now the Biden campaign is opening 31 offices in Wisconsin. Ad campaigns are great, and this has been a substantial, largest investment in African American and Latino voters earlier than any other Democratic campaign before. Different than 2020, than 2012, 2008, all of them. So kudos. But it is conversation that moves people. You got to tap into your precinct captains like Miss Susie that been organizing since Bill Clinton. Is Miss Susie engaged? Has she come to the meeting? And North Carolina, to end where we started, is I think the best example of one of the places where at least the infrastructure has the scaffolding is definitely up. It is a place where Joe Biden, he lost it in 2020, but it is definitely gettable. They have a Democratic governor now. They could have had a Black woman Democratic senator, and the former Chief Justice Sherry Beasley had the Democrats just put the money in the race and believed that folks could win there. The infrastructure, okay? Money and infrastructure matter. Where people spend their time matters. So those are the kind of things that they have to do. But then you have to repeat it often. You can't do the events and then just think, oh, well, we went. Why aren't people talking about it? Okay, we have to continue to go and then use your time coupled with your media appearances. I think that the president should do more interviews. You have to meet the people where they are. You have to go to the places and spaces that they read, watch, and listen to.
Symone Sanders Townsend is host of MSNBC's The Weekend, which is co-hosted by Alicia Menendez, Michael Steele, and it airs on MSNBC Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.